It was a cold evening, the kind that seeps into your bones and reminds you how alone the world can be. As Jack closed the hood of his old pickup truck after finishing a last-minute job, he noticed something out of place near the gas station across the street. A woman in a wheelchair was sitting silently in the shadows, two little girls leaning against her, their small bodies wrapped in thin blankets. Jack didn't have much to give, but he had a heart that couldn't ignore suffering. So, without a second thought, he crossed the road, not knowing that this one act of kindness would change all of their lives forever. Jack was a single dad raising his 8-year-old son, Ryan. His wife had passed away 3 years ago from cancer, and since then, life had been a test of endurance. Between working as a part-time mechanic and driving for a food delivery service, Jack was doing everything to give Ryan a safe, stable life. But seeing the woman and the two girls, he saw a reflection of the same pain he had lived through: loss, loneliness, and the desperation of trying to protect someone you love with nothing but your will. The woman's name was Emma, and her twin daughters were named Lily and Rose, both just 6 years old. Emma was hesitant to accept Jack's offer to stay at his small home just for the night, but the biting cold left her no choice. As they entered Jack's modest house, the girls stared in awe at the simple warmth of it all: a space heater, a couch, a kitchen that smelled like toast and coffee. It wasn't much, but to them, it was everything. Emma told her story over tea, voice trembling. After a car accident left her paralyzed from the waist down, her husband's family began treating her like a burden. When he passed away 6 months later, they wasted no time in throwing her out, calling her useless and claiming she couldn't raise normal children. Since then, she had been living between shelters, always one step away from total despair. Her only reason to keep going were her girls. Integrating Emma and the twins into Jack's life wasn't simple. Ryan was wary at first, and used to sharing his father's attention. The girls were shy, clinging to Emma like shadows. Jack had to work longer hours to make ends meet, now feeding 5 mouths instead of 2. He couldn't afford daycare, and Emma couldn't work. Bills piled up, and there were nights Jack sat awake wondering if he'd made a terrible mistake by taking them in. But something beautiful began to bloom between the hardships. Ryan started warming up to the twins, sharing his toys and laughing more than Jack had heard in years. Emma, though confined to her wheelchair, began helping Ryan with homework, sewing curtains for the drafty windows, and cooking simple meals. Jack started coming home to the smell of stew, the sound of children laughing, and something else he hadn't felt in a long time: peace. Then came the turning point. One afternoon, Emma received a letter she had assumed lost long ago. It was from a high-end law firm and had been forwarded from an old shelter address. Jack read it with her in the kitchen while the kids played nearby. The letter stated that one of her daughters, Rose, had been named in the will of a wealthy man, her estranged grandfather, whom Emma had never met. Apparently, he had secretly followed their lives from afar and was heartbroken over how his son, Emma's late husband, had treated her. According to the will, Rose was the sole heir to a trust worth over $40 million, and the firm had been trying to contact Emma for months. She sat frozen, the letter trembling in her hands. Jack didn't say anything for a long time. Finally, he reached over and whispered, "Looks like one of your girls is going to have the life we all prayed for." But Emma didn't run off to the city. She didn't leave Jack or uproot the life they had rebuilt together. Instead, she used the funds to create a safe haven first, by buying Jack's rented house and renovating it so she could move freely. Then, by opening a free daycare center for struggling single parents, staffed by other moms and volunteers who had known pain and now wanted to give back. As for Jack, he was stunned when Emma handed him the keys to a new auto shop, his name on the front. "You saved my life," she said simply. "This is me returning the favor." He tried to argue, but she only smiled. "You didn't just give us shelter, you gave us a home." 2 years later, that home was filled with warmth, not just from heaters, but from love. Ryan had 2 sisters who adored him. Jack and Emma had found something deeper than romance, they had found healing. And Rose, the billionaire's heir, was just a happy little girl who still liked coloring on the walls and jumping into Jack's arms. Message of the story: sometimes, life's biggest miracles arrive in the most unexpected ways. One act of compassion can create a new family, and love, not money, is what turns a house into a home. Never underestimate the power of kindness, it may just lead you to the miracle you never saw coming.